Alright, welcome back. And so, in the spirit of moving right along, because it's hot and humid and Sunday, and this is a bad case of scope creep, I am doing my best for an interim solution here. And because this will be changed in a few years, I'm not really stressing out about it. It'll be a lot better than it used to be, basically. So I came in here and I snapped a line here from the back of the stud and plate and cut off the floorboards that were here hanging out into space, and then I wrapped up this treated 2x8 section with flashing tape, and top down the face of him and around both ends, and the top goes off and over top of the end wall. So the end is also wrapped up here. He's pre-wrapped because I had to sneak him down in here against this rough concrete. I actually had to use a big Johnson bar here to push this old rim joist over enough for him to fall down in there. And see, he's just in there loose for right now. And what he's going to do is create a waterproof surface that any kind of water that lands out here, snow melt, will run in and down the face of him and then down onto the ground underneath the concrete here, which is a best case scenario. So a lot of this has to do with being able to do what I want to do here, has to do with removing this concrete porch, which will happen down the road, but it's not going to happen today. So he keeps water from going right around into the insulation that we added, going back onto this untreated end of the rim joist that's here, or anything like that. And so then we threw a cleat made out of treated 3/4 inch plywood, which I had a scrap of here, and he's 4 inches wide. I slid him in and I screwed down through the ends of the floorboards onto him, so he's got a pretty good, the joists are in here like this, in this area, rather than being from the outside wall into the home. So there is a pair. There's the rim joist here, and then there's another joist on the other sort of surface of the basement wall, and then it starts a floor joist layout. So essentially these floorboards don't cantilever off the next joist more than maybe 6 inches, 4 or 5 maybe, and so cutting them back and adding this piece of plywood that ties each of the individual 4 or 5, maybe 6 inch wide board that's cantilevered out. Now if we've tied them all together with this cleat, we've multiplied the cantilever strength by its width. So for its current width now being all connected, the cantilever is quite short, the aspect ratio, whereas the width of each of these individual boards, it was close to the same cantilever as the width, which gave it a lot more flexibility. So we gain rigidity there, and this also goes down and stops at a certain point. It's a little lower than here that it stops, but it does stop against the ground or whatever you want to call it. That's not going to help us really. So the next step is going to be to take this deck board, which is as close to 1 inch in a treated material as I can get without going to the store, and it's going to come in here essentially flush with these old floorboards. And so what I'm going to basically do is it's all very basic, but I'm going to slam him in there like that, and I've yet to decide. I think I'll probably wrap him with flashing tape first and then try to slip him in there. The problem with that is that it gets caught and rips, so I guess it's not essential. No, it's not essential. I'm going to put him in there until he stops against these boards, then I'm going to screw down through the face of him into the top edge of this, picking this rim joist up, and then I'm going to come around inside where I opened up the wall, and I'm going to use some nice long 4-inch coated framing screws like these, and I'm going to put an extension in the drill gun, but the sole plate's here, and the framing for the door is only one singular stud or whatever. I don't know if I can get that to expose correctly, but I can go right through the plate here with a couple 4-inch screws, and so that will catch this board and draw him up tight to the sole plate, and the sole plate's cantilevered over in here from both sides, and that'll be kind of the best that I can do here, is to suspend that, like that. And then the last thing I may do, because we've got such a great thickness here, there's another whole layer of 1-inch boards. I suppose what I might do then is throw another piece of this 3/4 inch plywood over top of these boards and right out over on top of this deck board, and anchor everybody together there. So then we've got this zigzagging, sandwiching cantilever, as well as being tied in at the ends. And then finally we'll put our flashing tape in here the way that you would for a door install. I'll go down into here a half an inch to an inch, but that's why I pre-wrapped this guy, because I was never going to flashing tape, you know, down into that crevice. But ultimately this whole area will be flash taped from inside all the way down the face of this faux rim joist, and right on down to the ground. And the siding will come over here, and our outside trim will be composite, and it'll all be caulked. And so again, without removing the porch, that's the best that we can do here. And then we can get to the business of making sure the rough opening is close to what we need for the door, which it should be. It was a 36-inch door that came out of here. So adding that 3/4 of an inch may mean that I have to replace this 1.5 inches with something more like 3/4. We'll see. Anyway, we'll come back and look at what's cooking after I get so far as I've explained right now. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you.